Hey guys, today we're going back to this Lawnboy. I want to find out exactly what's going on with this carburetor since it's not running properly. So let's crack it open and change this carburetor to a new one. See if that solves the problem. Alright, so changing this out should be fairly simple. First things first, of course. Make sure you have a new carburetor, that's rather important. Then to remove this intake pipe, you have two 3/8 nuts. This one is actually a 3/8 bolt, but as you can see in here, if you wanted, you could use a Phillips, but this nut here that holds on the bag safety wire, that one there is a 3/8 nut. So I figured just stick with the 3/8 socket. Makes life a little bit easier. And at least with this particular one, we don't have to remove the exhaust to get the intake off. Let's quickly do that. Now the stud. Again, 3/8. Well, looks like I'm gonna have to use a Phillips to get this one out. Unless I take off the exhaust, which means taking off the shield. Wonder if I can get that out. I may not be able to actually get it out. Oh, Tecumseh. I was really hoping I wouldn't. So I switched to an 11mm or 7/16. I'll remove the exhaust bolts. There we go. I didn't have to remove the shield after all. Perfect. Now the other 3/8 bolt. And we can remove the intake. Take off the spring. Take off the air tube. And remove the governor arm. I'll just remove it from the governor itself, as it's a little bit easier to get off that way. Then I can remove it from the carburetor. Next, remove the fuel line, and I can see clearly there's no fuel at all. Oh, no, there is fuel. So I'm going to have to pinch this off, or I'll plug it up. I'll opt for the easier option. I'll just plug it up. Just a 1/4 inch extension. Plugs it up perfect. This gasket's very wet with oil. So is the intake. So a good possibility that there was still a little bit of oil that was left over and got blown in. Hopefully it's not the rings letting oil by. Cobra chickens. Pretty destroyed. So I'm going to make one up. First, let's take this carburetor apart. So there's 3/8 on the back. 7/16 nut. Again, repeat on the other side. A small ear that holds on the spring. And there, carburetor is now separated from the air intake. I'm just going to run quickly and make up the gasket for this. Okay, so I made up a paper gasket. It's not exact match, but at least it's complete and it should seal. So let's get the air filter and adapter off this carburetor and get it swapped to the new one. Take off the air filter housing and the air filter. Still a little bit of gasoline in this bowl. Okay, so we take this off with a 1/4-inch socket. And that's it. Carburetor is removed. And now we put the new carburetor on. So I'm going to take out the straw to make it easier to put the air filter adapter on. You just snug these up, and that's it. You don't need to go crazy. You're just holding the air filter adapter on. Right, put the straw in. Maybe. There we go. Primer straws in. Air filter. Housing. Gasket. And intake tube. We'll put one bolt through on the primer side first. Use gravity for our advantage. These tabs, they have to stick up. That's how you know you've got it on the right way. Now to secure it with one 7/16 nut. Now the other one with the control ear. I'm just going to get my scraper to remove the rest of that material that's stuck on the intake. There we go, much better. All right, let's get the air intake on with the new carburetor. We'll put the first bolt in, the one with the stud, with the bag catch, so that we can put the paper gasket on. I can use this bolt to thread it in. That way it should hold the paper gasket in place. And we'll get the second bolt. Now with those in place, I'll put the governor linkage in. Clip the governor in, maybe. Sorry, it's very hard to film for here. There, governor linkage is in. Now the spring linkage, or the anti-surge spring. And back to 3/8. I'm just going to gently put these in by hand. And get them started. They go in straight and not cross thread. Now the top one. There it goes. So does the camera. Oops. That was crazy. Hey, look at that, guys. Look what I found. A red subscribe button. If you made it this far into the video, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget, give it a thumbs up. Comment below. I love to read your comments, and I try to reply to as many of them as I can, especially the early ones. All right, guys, back to the video. Now let's get the fuel line on. And the linkage came off again. We'll put it back on in a sec. Let's get the fuel line on. Air tube. That's all assembled. Let's get this back on the engine. Start. Oh, nice. The air tube came off. So we'll start with the bottom one. We'll thread it in by hand. Since it's going into aluminum, this is very easily cross-thread. All right, we'll tighten these down by hand. One. Two. Same thing. We'll thread those in gently by hand. And then we'll tighten them down with a small wrench. And that came out nice. Can never go smoothly. Tecumseh never goes smooth. Tighten these down by hand. Now the bag safety sensor. Again, tighten that down by hand. And there. Now let's give it a test. Okay, so let's give it a test. So this is prime 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Then we pull the bail. So there we go. Change the carb on that. Runs like a champ. All right, guys. See you in the next one.